Hey guys, I am going to hopefully mute everybody. No offense. If I can figure out my buttons. I think everybody's muted now. Give it a few minutes to get people the opportunity to log in. Make a post on Facebook, make sure people know it's time. All right. Admit. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me this fine evening. I know that there's a ton of things you all might want to do at 9 o'clock at night on the East Coast, other than listen to me talk for an hour or whatever it might be. We're still getting people in, so I apologize. I literally use Zoom every single day, multiple times a day. And unfortunately, even then, it's like, I don't know, it gives me issues from time to time. But thanks for joining. You know, I think that it's funny. If you're on any of my calls, you hear me say, I think this is going to be the most important call. But, obviously, I think this one actually is. And I tell you, this is my full-time job, right? So literally, if you're an elite client of mine, what I'm teaching you today is a small amount of what I do. Can you hear me okay? Can I use the chat feature? If you can hear me, say yes. I see Missy with her thumbs up. Dave Farrell might just need to. Okay, I see thumbs up. Dave, fix your audio. All right. So this is what I do for a job. So I'm a nutritionist and personal trainer. Most of you all know me because you're in my group, but a few people I may or may not know on here. So welcome. And obviously, I'm really appreciative I have the opportunity to teach you this. So this is information, I had a bunch of questions this week from people in the Transformation Challenge with, hey, I don't know where to start, right? I don't know how to make a meal plan. I don't know what I need to work on. Like, what's the important aspects of dieting, right? Where do I even start? And I can tell you that, working with people off and on for 2 decades, that's the toughest thing. If you don't have a coach or someone to lean on, it's so hard to figure it out. It's not like it's something that you can just figure out on your own without at least researching a variety of sources, right? Reading on it or purchasing a plan or something else. So what I'm going to teach you today is the fundamentals of why we should do certain things when we create a meal plan and the benefits of them. So before I share my screen, because I actually made something I'm proud of, so hopefully you all enjoy it, of how to actually create a meal plan. I want to go on to, just the basics of why we do what we do. Okay, so first, we know as a basis that calories in, calories out is the weight loss equation. Now, it is not perfect and it's not absolute, right? We know that certain hormones can cause our metabolism to slow. Certain conditions can make our metabolism slow. Poor gut health will cause malnutrition and actually cause more fat gain. Cortisol can actually make you gain weight in a calorie deficit. There's a lot of things going on, but for the most part, the most fundamental part of a diet is calories in versus calories out. Now, as a nutritionist, I believe that theory sets you up for failure. And here's my spiel, and I say this all the time. So if you've heard it 100 times, I'm sorry. You're going to hear it 101 times. So the biggest driver of our metabolism is actually our muscle. Whether you have a lot of muscle, like Travis Skeens is on here, or you don't have a lot of muscle, you still have muscle, and that muscle is the biggest driver of our metabolism. People think it's your pituitary gland or your thyroid or how active you are, but unless you're running 5Ks every day or more than likely the amount of muscle you have burns the most calories. A pound of muscle burns 10 calories per day. So if you're 200 pounds and you have 80 pounds of muscle, that's still 800 calories of the maybe 1,800 calories your body burns each day coming from one fuel source or one source, and that's muscle. So the problem with the calories in, calories out fallacy is that to lose weight, you have to cut calories. But when you lose weight, not only does the body use fat as fuel, it uses muscle also. Muscle is stored calories. We think of fat as stored calories, but muscle is also stored calories. Unfortunately, a pound of muscle only is worth 700 calories. A pound of fat's worth 3,500 calories. So burning fat obviously would be, it takes longer to burn a pound of fat because muscle is like paper versus fat being a log of wood, for instance, if we're burning by a campfire or something. So, but the problem is that muscle is the chief part of our metabolism. And so that if we eat away at our muscle, our metabolism is going to crash. And that's exactly what happens with calories in, calories out. We don't worry about our muscle. We're just worried about cutting calories. So our body, as we lose weight, we're losing both fat and muscle. So what happens is you'll talk to me or you'll use the Transformation Challenge app or MyFitnessPal or whatever you use, and it'll kick out a random calorie number that you should hit each day. It'll say you need 1,600 calories. Well, the problem is maybe you do need 1,600 calories. And so you just count calories and then you start losing weight, but at the same time, you're losing fat and muscle. Then here in a couple months, you're going to plateau. What is the only thing you can do once you plateau and you're counting calories? Anybody know? You can put it in the chat. You can unmute yourself. What is the only thing you can do if you plateau and you're counting calories? Reduce calories. Exactly. That's the only thing we can do. Good job, Missy and Whitney. You all pay attention. That's all we can do. We can only cut calories more. So we cut from 1,600 to 1,400. What do we do when you hit another plateau? We cut calories more. So we go down to 1,200. What happens when we plateau there? We have to literally starve ourselves. That is why the calorie in, calorie out fallacy doesn't work, because it sets us up to starve. That becomes the only thing we can do to maintain weight loss, is to continually cut calories. So what's the alternative? Okay, so obviously, you could, do more cardio or, work out more, and that would burn calories differently, but it's still the same issue, right? You're burning calories by doing cardio, but you're still having, as you lose weight, you're still going to have to cut more and more calories or run even more. And it comes to a point that you're either running 6 hours a day or you go down to 600 calories. Both of them sounds horrible to me. I do not do cardio. Dave Farrell knows this. If I do cardio, I'm normally like doing it with one leg and I look dumb, but it's funny and I enjoy doing it. So, and this is like the 6th call I've had today. So I'll be drinking water because I'm a little hoarse. So that's the problem with the calorie in, calorie out fallacy. It sets you up for failure. You cannot win that battle. And that's why everybody in here has dieted before. Everybody in here has lost weight before by cutting calories, and everybody has gained weight back. It sets you up for failure. There is no way to sustain a calorie in, calorie out for an extended amount of time. Now, I'm sure you know your grandma that did well or some specific person, but when it comes to a large group of people, the calorie in, calorie out fallacy doesn't work, right? It may work for specific people, but not for everybody. The alternative is to pay attention to calories, but also factor in protein. Now, I know someone in here does have kidney issues. So when it comes to protein, if you have known kidney issues, for instance, kidney failure or genetic kidney issues, which you would know specifically that you had, then you can't go super high protein. You can only go to about 0.8 grams per kilogram. So that means if you weigh 200 pounds, you can have roughly 70, 75 grams of protein a day, which is actually still more than the RDA. So if we focus on protein and cutting calories, a few things happen. One, it actually increases the metabolism. Protein actually increases the metabolism much more than fats and carbs do. Studies showed that when you go from a high carb diet to a moderate protein diet, you eat 441 calories less each day. Protein is the most satiating of the calories, which basically means it keeps us fuller longer, so it suppresses our appetite. But it also increases calories burned. Another study showed that if you eat the same amount of calories, so say for instance, Missy eats 2,000 calories and it's low protein but high carb, and I eat 2,000 calories and it's high protein and moderate carb, we both lose weight. However, the person that eats more protein loses about 42% more fat, and they're gaining more muscle, and that's because the metabolism increases. Right? You're going to build and retain muscle as you lose weight, which is going to keep your metabolism high. So studies show again and again and again the importance of protein. Now, I'm going to ask you all, and you can put it in the chat, what all does protein do for the body? Hair, nails, skin. Yes. What else? Fuel. So fuel is a tricky question because we actually don't want our body to use protein as fuel. It can, and I'm not saying that's bad. It's not bad. You're right. But our goal is to use protein for any reason other than energy. And actually, the good news is our bodies will use it for absolutely anything known to man before it uses it either to turn to fuel, which means fat, future fuel, or to be used at the time as fuel. But it can do it. It does increase the metabolism, obviously in muscle, good one, tendons, bones, literally hormones. We need protein for thyroid function. A lot of people don't realize that. Your body needs iodine and the amino acid tyrosine, Tyrosine, to actually create T3 and T4, the powerful thyroid hormones that burn fat, kickstart your metabolism. Hair, skin, nails are all made of protein, cartilage, bones, ligaments, neurotransmitters, some hormones, some enzymes, and actually our DNA is made of protein. And actually the building blocks of protein, amino acids, actually are in the double helix. So protein does a whole lot. And a lot of people get confused with that because protein's been mismarketed over the years. Anybody that's been around since like the late 90s, like wanting to be bigger and stronger, remembers all the jacked bodybuilders holding protein saying, if you take this, you're going to look just like me. Right? Well, the problem is protein really doesn't do that, right? I mean, to a point it does, but for your body to grow muscle, definitely to the point of like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you got to eat a calorie surplus, which means you got to eat more than your body needs. So for you to grow intense amount of muscle, you got to eat a ton of calories. You would have to eat 6,000 calories plus eat 300 grams of protein to even come close to looking like that. So you don't have to worry about women developing, male features or anything like that. It's non-hormonal, no big deal there. But the big thing I want to stress is it does a heck of a lot more than just muscle, right? However, it does preserve the muscle you have as you diet. It also repairs the muscle. A lot of people get super sore, right, after you work out. Well, it takes protein to rebuild and repair the muscle because we actually tear up our muscles when we're working out. A lot of people think we build muscle in the gym. We actually don't start building muscle until we eat after the gym because we have to actually give our body what it needs to actually build and repair the muscle. So anyway, so there's a lot of things going on and why protein is so important. We're going to eat less, we're going to increase the metabolism, and we're going to look better doing it. And I think that's a big thing too. A lot of people don't, as we said with the calories in, calories out fallacy, if you focus on calories alone, best case scenario, you're going to look a smaller version of yourself one day. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying that if you think you're going to get a toned physique and look better in a bikini by just cutting calories, you're just going to be a smaller version of yourself. So if you start 250 and you cut calories and cut calories and cut calories, and a year and a half later you get down to 150, you're still going to have a little bit of fat. You're going to have more loose skin. You're not necessarily going to have any muscle at all. You're going to get that super, super thin look, right? And most of the time, when I ask my clients what exactly they're wanting at the end of their weight loss transformation, they want a toned physique. And unfortunately, toned physiques come from working out and protein. So that's why protein's so important. So when we talk about starting our meal plan or our diet, one, we need to set a goal. And it's got to be obtainable, but yet challenging. If a goal's too, and it has to be quantifiable. And what I mean by that is you can't just give it a quality. You can't say, I want to lose weight. How much weight? I don't know. I want to look thinner. Well, thinner is not a quantifiable thing. We need to know, how much weight you want to lose, or what size dress you would like to wear, or how big you want your waist to be. Those are quantifiable things that we can actually achieve. However, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds this year, now, if you're 120 pounds and you're 5 foot tall, maybe 10 pounds would be difficult. But if you have 100 pounds to lose, 10 pounds would be, hopefully we can get that off you in the next 3 weeks type of scenario. So we need to make sure that the goal is obtainable, achievable, but challenging so that we stay motivated. Now, this is something I've really focused on the last month is have many goals. The problem with weight loss is as soon as we hit a goal, we tend to move on and forget that our body remembers what it's like to be fat. And as soon as you stop, eating right and living the lifestyle, it comes back and it comes back faster, right? By the way, I see some names I don't realize. I should have probably introduced myself better. I am sorry. My name is Dustin Holston. I'm a nutritionist and personal trainer, owner of Advanced Nutrition Solutions. I wore one of my shirts for the first time in a while. I'm actually getting a new logo. I'm really excited. Hopefully I'll have it by tomorrow. I'm super stoked. So I'll be doing some shirt giveaways and stuff once I get that developed. So I've been working for nearly 2 decades, helping people incorporate it, became a nutritionist over the last 10 years and do this full time. So anyway, we'll move on. So where do we start? So give me 1 second to edit some things. I apologize. Hold on 1 second. I forgot that I had to hide some things for you, or this call would be really boring. We're going to play some guessing games. Let's see. There we go. All right. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The easiest way to kind of figure out how many calories your body needs is to utilize the Transformation app. When you log in and you create an account, it'll ask you questions like your goals, your goal weight, your current weight, your gender, your age. And based off that, it'll, in your activity level. Now, let me actually stop real quick. Everybody wants to put intermediate on their activity level because no one wants to think they're lazy and sedentary is the answer. I challenge you that for 99% of Americans, unless you're a roofer or a laborer, for the most part, we're sedentary. And the app is really good at calculating calories needed, but it uses activity as a multiplier. So if you say you're an intermediate activity level, which by the way, I work out 7 days a week, I'm sedentary. You're not as active as you think you are. I work at a desk all day. To be intermediately active, you got to be on your feet 24/7, actually raising your heart rate, things like that. But anyway, if you got a lot of weight to lose, always put sedentary, because if not, it's going to multiply the amount of calories you need to make them astronomical. I've seen people accidentally key in that they're super active, and to lose weight, they're saying they need 3,000 calories. That's not true, but unfortunately, that's how the app calculated your activity level and calories. So anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we have somebody, and we're going to say it's one of you all. So let me get my share screen going. All right, hopefully you all can see my screen. and you should see a whole lot of black because I am hiding information from you because we're going to figure this out together. So in this case, we have a female and she weighs 200 pounds and she wants to weigh 140. Okay. So when you input, she's low activity level. Okay. So she's sedentary. It kicks out that she needs 1,501 calories. Sorry, it's giving me issues. There we go. To optimize weight loss. Okay, the app calculates this for you. Okay, now the issue is the app doesn't necessarily make you a meal plan. So this is how I would, if I was you, create a meal plan. Okay, and now what I'm doing is I'm pretending that when we talk about the foods that this person uses, we're going to call her Sally. That way I can stop saying this person. When we talk about what Sally's eating today, she's putting this into the MyFitness Transformation Challenge app or MyFitnessPal, and this is how many calories she eats per day. So this is what she currently does, okay? And this is a good, if you're going to start your diet, I would actually suggest, like, if you download the app today, use what you ate yesterday and put it in the app and see where you're at. So this is what Sally's doing. So she eats breakfast. She eats oatmeal, which is a good, healthy source of food. It's whole grains. It's got all kinds of vitamins and minerals. And she has 2 pieces of sausage links. I'm a sausage patty guy, but I won't hold that against her. Now, she doesn't eat a snack between lunch and breakfast and lunch because she's full, because oatmeal and sausage keeps you full, okay? For lunch, she works in the mall, so she goes to Chick-fil-A, and I misspelled nuggets, don't judge me. And she eats a 6-pack of the fried nuggets. She has a small waffle fry, and she just loves regular Coke. Then she eats 3 hard-boiled eggs for a snack because she heard eggs are high in protein, and she knows that protein is really important and that she should probably eat more. So she eats 3 hard-boiled eggs, which is awesome. We go to dinner, and, she had some kids and a husband that works late, so she ran by and got the quarter pounder combo at McDonald's. Now, we said the app says that she needs 1,500 calories to lose weight. How many calories do you think she's eating each day? Let me unshare real quick.
A lot.
A lot. Do you think it's 1,000 calories more than 1,500, 300 calories more, 500 calories more? What do you think? Hold on, let me stop share. It's driving me crazy. There we go.
McDonald's alone is like probably 1,200 right there.
I love Amber said too many, at least 609. 609. So, okay, so we're all saying that she's eating more than what her body needs, okay? And before I screen share, I gotta all right, let me unshare, or let me share again. I apologize. There's a lot of moving parts with this. All right, believe it or not, she eats only 1,841 calories. She gets 101 protein, 74 fats, and 150 carbs. So, although we're definitely not eating nutritious food by any stretch of the imagination, right? I mean, oatmeal is good for you. The 3 hard-boiled eggs is good for you. Aside from that, not a whole lot is, Chick-fil-A does have great nuggets, and they're actually not that bad for you, but not the best. So this is actually what it comes out to. So I spent some time calculating all this. So this is what she's getting from everything. Actually, the oatmeal is incorrect. I'm not sure what that based off of. Oh, that's because it used to be level 1. Anyway, let's pretend that I didn't mess up on the oatmeal. So so that would actually increase. She's probably, that's about 225. Hold on, I'll fix it. 225. That'll be about 10. That'll be about 4. That'll be about 40. All right, now it's fixed. So that puts her at, I apologize, 1916. I promise I do this for a living. Don't judge me. I know Whitney's on here. I teach this class. I think she's been on my class before. Okay, so she's at 1916. So she's at 400 calories over, 86 grams of protein, 76 grams of fat, and 184 carbs. But in reality, she's actually not horrible. But here's the deal, guys. Say her body only needs 1,600 calories to maintain its current weight. Well, being 300 calories over what your body needs stores 30 extra pounds of fat a year. It doesn't take a whole lot to cause us to gain weight as humans. We have a ton of hormones and processes in our body that wants us to be fat. So 300 calories a day extra, and this is a good day for her, right? This would include pizza and beers with friends on the weekend or anything else. This is just an average day. It's going to gain 30 pounds a year. Okay, so just to put that in perspective. Now, by using the app, it'll kick out what it thinks will optimize your results. And the app said that for her to be 140 and to accelerate weight loss, she needs 140 grams of protein, 49 grams of fat, and 125 carbs. Now, let me be realistic with you. I personally like low carb diets. That's just me, right? And I think that a lot of people benefit from low carb diets because we've abused blood sugar and insulin and all that when you were younger. However, when it comes to actually losing weight, unless you have insulin resistance or PCOS or diabetes or something like that, it really doesn't necessarily matter. Dave, I don't have time to listen to you. Dave's one of my best friends, so I can pick on him. So the app says that if we're going to optimize everything, this is what it suggests. Now, to be quite honest, protein and calories are the two most important things. Like we talked earlier about the calories in, calories out. We hit calories, we hit protein, we're going to optimize results. Your calories and fats, for the most part, is you choose them based off of what food you like to eat. Right? If you like nuts and cheeses, you're going to have a little bit higher fats. If you like rices and potatoes and toast, then you're going to go a little bit higher carb. But for the most part, protein and calories are the two most important things. So if I'm meeting with a new person, I start taking what they currently do and trying to make subtle changes. Now, I know that a lot of you are elite clients, and you know this, but I try to use foods you actually like, because you're going to stick to the diet better if you actually enjoy the food that you're eating. And I will say I can't look at chats right now because of how my screen's set up. So currently, she's eating oatmeal, 225 calories, 10 protein, 4 fats, 40 carbs, and she's eating 2 sausage links that are 160 calories, 6 protein, 15 fats, and 1 carb. What would you think might be a good idea for her to hit her goals? Because you would probably say a 400 calorie breakfast might be a little high in her scenario because she only needs 1,500 calories in the entire day. Oh, that's right. I can't see chat. Hold on. I'm gonna fix it. Hold on.
I would say she needs to add protein to her oatmeal and do a protein oatmeal. Then maybe look at turkey sausage or a higher protein sausage that she could get more bang for her buck.
Whitney's a good trainer. So I have a loaded call because I got a pro on here. Yeah, those are all great suggestions. Like what she said is let's figure out a way to increase protein and maybe minimize the amount of fat and calories of the sausage. That sounds like a great idea. We're going to cut calories a little bit. We're going to increase protein because obviously, she's not anywhere close to optimizing her protein levels, right? She's at 86 grams, right? So, and if you look at this scenario, she's really high on fats, right? which isn't that big a deal, but it's causing her to be way over on her calories. And obviously she's high on protein. Well, I happened to talk to her and she told me that she loves coffee. And I told her about the benefits of level 1 protein and how it actually tastes great in your coffee. So one thing that I like to do now, what Whitney said is perfectly fine, right? And actually, in reality, that might be a better answer because it's actually food. You're not changing her foods per se. But in this scenario, I told her, hey, look, do you like Starbucks, like a mocha or one of those? She said, yes. I said, hey, I got this great idea. You brew hot coffee, you add a scoop of level 1, you mix it, it tastes great, it mixes instantly, and you're going to be higher on protein, and we're going to help kick down the amount of carbs and fats you have. Because that was my biggest issue with her breakfast, was the fact that it's carb heavy and fat heavy. So that's what I did. However, what Whitney said is a phenomenal answer, maybe even better than mine. Now, she doesn't necessarily eat snacks, but because she's so deficient in her protein and such, what are some things that we might be able to suggest to help her hit her protein and limit her carb goals, or her calorie goals? Sorry. Oh, got another Ednet. So this one's kind of a trick question because she wasn't eating snacks before. My argument was she wasn't eating snacks because she had a super heavy breakfast. So now that we're going to a protein shake and coffee, and we need to make sure we're increasing protein by 60 more than what she's currently doing, I suggested this. A piece of string cheese and a medium apple. Gives you about 170 calories. We're going to get a little bit more protein. We're going to increase carbs a little, but not a whole lot. But this kept her full, and it kept her from binge eating at lunch. For lunch, she works at the mall, right? And trust me, I am a meal prep king, right? I think everybody should meal prep, but I sympathize with her, right? She works at the mall. She don't have a whole lot of time. Maybe she doesn't even have a refrigerator or microwave at her work, and just meal prepping is not an option. Obviously, I told her the importance of level 1 and how it keeps her full, but even then, it's not, if you need carbs, fats, and proteins to kind of fill out your day, level 1's a little skippy on the carbs and protein, or carbs and fats, and maybe you add oats to it or something. But I decided to make things easier is to keep it exactly the same, but with small adjustments. And with this adjustment, we went to the grilled nuggets instead of the fried nuggets. I still allowed her to have her small waffle fry, but I told her, hey, look, soda is just killing your health. It's not good for you. I'm not saying diet's that much better, but diet doesn't have calories. It's not going to have a blood sugar spike. It's not going to have insulin release and fat storage. So I talked her into a Diet Coke. Now, one thing that I want to say is she's going to be cutting calories. Do you think by any stretch of the imagination she's hungry after lunch? Up until that point, is she starving? Does anybody think she's starving with the diet that I'm suggesting? I see Missy saying no, and I can't see comments on chat. So I'm going to say no one thinks, and you would be right. At this point, eating protein, coffee, string cheese, apple, grilled chicken nuggets, which that was a 6-pack, by the way, small waffle fry, Diet Coke. She's got great calories. She's getting more wholesome food than not wholesome food, and she's probably doing pretty good. So I told her that I was actually impressed with her hard-boiled eggs, and there's nothing wrong with them. I told her, hey, you can keep doing that. But I said, hey, if you want some diversity, one of my favorite things are little deli meat roll-ups. You take some deli meat, you mix it with some cheese, you roll it up, and you eat it. It's low carb, it's higher protein, it's better for you in certain sense. Although I'm a big fan of eggs, so I'm not saying she did anything wrong with that. I just wanted her to add a little bit of diversity in her diet. So she could have kept the eggs. It would have worked out perfectly in this scenario too. I was just busy giving her some options. Now, dinner is a pain in the ass, right? Sorry for cussing if I have children on, I apologize. She's doing a quarter pounder. She's doing small fry because obviously she wants to lose weight, so she went to small fry. And she actually was doing a diet soda. but she has a total of 27 grams of protein this meal, 30 grams of fat, and 60 grams of carbs. So I told her that it might be beneficial for at the beginning of the week to grill out a bunch of steak, right? And make some meal prep steak for dinner. She said her husband likes steak. She loves the taste of steak. She thought that that was a pretty good idea because she can make it on Sunday and refrigerate it and make it. So we started off with going 6 ounces or 4 ounces, sorry, of sirloin steak. Sirloin's a pretty good cut. It's not super fatty, but it also tastes good. So it's not like it's super lean. So I suggested the sirloin. Plus, it's lighter on the budget than some of the other ones. Now, before I go any further, if you look at her current diet from this angle, protein shake, string cheese, apple, grilled nuggets, small waffle fry, Diet Coke, 4-ounce deli meat, 1 slice of mozzarella, and 4 ounces of sirloin steak. What are we missing? And if you don't know, that's okay.
Fruits and veggies, or more veggies.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be, and I'm sorry, I can't see. Oh, there's the chat. Yes, veggies. Yeah, so I would automatically at this point, if I'm working with you or somebody else, make sure that they are well aware that they are super low on veggies and fruits. That's where we whole grains, veggies, and fruits is where we get the vast majority of our micronutrients, which is our vitamins and minerals, right? And so eating 1 apple a day, unfortunately, isn't anywhere close to how much we're supposed to have. She's trying to go a little bit low carb, and unfortunately, fruits are high carb, even though fruits are great for you. But still, if we're trying to manage the amount of carbs we eat, she couldn't fit that much in. So I did want to make sure. I gave her some options, and she said, "Man, I love asparagus." And it's funny, I decided to grab the most random veggie I can here because most people would have expected broccoli or cauliflower or something. I said, "Hey, we're going to add asparagus." But in reality, almost all veggies have the same exact same calories and carbs and protein. So that one really doesn't matter. But I said, hey, grill some asparagus, whatever, add some bacon to it, it's even better. But in this case, it was just asparagus spears, sorry. And last, she said she loves potatoes because obviously she eats potatoes constantly. So I said, hey, let's bake that potato instead of frying it in oil. Now, where do you think, number one, do you all agree that that's actually a lot of food? Does anybody think they're starving if they eat this? I won't pick on Travis. He's a little bit bigger than all of us, so he might be starving. But for the most part, I think that looks like a pretty good amount of food, right? How many calories do you think this is? Shannon says it looks good. I think it looks good too. So by making subtle changes, I forgot where I was going with this conversation. Sorry. So like Whitney said, I think it was Whitney. I apologize if it wasn't Whitney. There's not that many greens, veggies, and fruits in her diet. And so I talked to her the importance of making sure that we optimize our gut health because gut health is so important for weight loss and immune system and energy levels and everything else. And I also articulated that so we're not eating that many fruits and heart healthy foods that we may want to substitute something to help with that. So Opti Greens and Opti Reds aren't necessarily vegetable and fruit replacements. That's not how I suggest it to people. However, if you are deficient in veggies and fruits, you definitely need them to help improve gut health, blood flow, heart health, all that stuff. So I said, hey, look, Opti Greens has 10 servings of veggies plus probiotics and digestive enzymes. Opti Reds has a ton of antioxidant fruits, extracts, things that keep the carbs down, but it still has all the stuff that you need from the mineral and vitamin perspective to help you. So I did convince her to do Opti Greens and Opti Reds because she said she just didn't have time to add fresh fruit and fresh veggie options throughout the day, which, to be honest, none of us do. And she worked out. And so I explained to her the importance of a post-workout shake. And in this case, we're doing Formula One. So it digests fast. It's also going to help repair and build muscle. and I see 1450, I see 1500. That's how exact I am. 1472, 133 grams of protein, 51 fats, 117 carbs. So if we go back over to this side, I promise I will wrap all this up and it'll make somewhat decent sense. So we've dropped it 450 calories. What the app suggested was 1501, 140, 49, 125, and we're pretty much there. Like no one in the world would ever complain about being 30 calories off and a few protein and a few fat and a few carbs. So why this is important is because unless you have a coach, right? And I'm not saying that you have to hire me. Obviously, I would love to work with you, and many of you all do. This is really the only way to really figure out how to even set up a diet, is to really utilize the Transformation app, which is going to give you your calories. It's going to give you an estimate on protein, carbs, and fats. And then you kind of got to do it yourself to figure out what fits your macros. Now, obviously, you could go on Google and type in 1400 calorie meal plan or 1500 calorie meal plan. And maybe that'll help, okay? But the key thing is it's not going to necessarily be foods you love, right? It's going to be whatever some bro wrote up and copied and pasted 100 times, and you're downloading, someone else's stuff. But it's not going to have the food you want. If you work at the mall, it's actually probably not going to have foods you can even make at the mall, right? She doesn't have a microwave. She doesn't have a refrigerator, so grilled chicken, rice, and broccoli isn't an option. And so the hardest thing about starting your diet is to figuring out where to start. And so that's why it's so important to use the Transformation Challenge app. So that way it at least gives you this information here, because that's the nuts and bolts, right? Figuring out how many calories you need for weight loss, figuring out how much protein you need for weight loss, and then estimating fats and carbs to get you where you want to be. But once you get those numbers, your next step is to figure out how the hell you're going to calculate them, right? The app does give you some suggestions like, hey, you can do 4 ounces of chicken here, you can do, whatever, but it's super repetitive with what you can do. Sorry, getting hoarse. So using the app, and so let me just verify. So in the app, this would be meal 1 in the app. And I would type in level 1 meal replacement protein, and it would pop up, and I would say 1 serving, and I press OK. Coffee really doesn't have calories, so you really don't need to add it. But I mean, in theory, it has a little, but I'm not too worried about it, except if you're adding creamer and stuff like that. Meal 2, you would just type in string cheese and apple. Meal 3, which would be lunch in this case, you just type all this. All you have to do is type in that, by the way. Let me just clarify. You're just typing in the meal itself. It'll automatically populate calories, protein, fats, and carbs. This would be meal 4, the snack here. Meal 5 is dinner. And then meal 6 would be the post-workout shake and her greens and reds. And so at the end of it, it would show you where you're going to be at. And one thing that I like to do with the app, especially when I was newer of a trainer or getting used to writing meal plans, after I'm done for the day, I would then experiment and say, what if instead of grilled chicken nuggets at Chick-fil-A, I had the regular chicken nuggets? And then it's going to spit out different numbers down here. And maybe it gets me at 1500 exactly. And I'm like, hey, I really don't like the grilled nuggets anyway. I'd rather do the fried. And I mean, yeah, it's going to take away from your protein a little bit. And there's going to be different things, but that gives you, what if I did 4 ounces hamburger, broccoli, and rice? It would then change the numbers. You can see if okay, maybe I could do that tomorrow for dinner. So at least having a basis in the app of calculating what may work. Now, keep in mind, you would do this. You would actually put what you had one day, and then you would then play around with different food options until you kind of crack the code to get closer to this. Guys, I understand it's hard, and I'm trying my darndest to explain it to you in the most layman terms ever, and it's hard. I know it is. I know people are on this going, you got to be kidding me. I have to do all this work. You could pay a trainer that does it for a living, just saying. But, and what I do is I give you 7 different days worth of meals that hit all these numbers. But if you're going to do it yourself, this is literally how you do it. You've got to spend the time keying in foods and figuring out, okay, if I like chicken a lot and I'm going to eat chicken 3 times a day, how much chicken can I eat, or what can I eat with it? So that at the end of the day, it comes down to these 4 numbers. And I understand this is brutally hard. And I tried really hard to explain this without going crazy. Macro Tetris. Yeah, basically. Right. So I am willing to send you this spreadsheet. I don't think it would benefit you much. Actually, I'm not going to send it because it really wouldn't benefit you at all. And the reason why I say that is because I had to type in every single number you see in here. So it really doesn't help you. So the best thing you would do, let me stop screen share so you can just see my ugly mug. Hold on, it's giving me issues. God bless it. Full screen. That didn't work either. All right, that'll work. The key is to use the app, whether it's MyFitnessPal or the Transformation app. Obviously, I want you to use the Transformation app because I can actually see if you're on my team what you're eating each day, so we can make recommendations and figure it out. And I'm going to help you, obviously. So if you're trying to figure out, hey, I need actually, one of my clients today was like, hey, I'm in the app and I just can't hit my protein. Will you look and see what I'm eating today and what recommendations you would make? And so I looked, and she was using 73% hamburger, which is your standard hamburger you buy at the store, 73% protein, 27% fat. And that's a ton of fat. That doesn't sound like a lot because it's 73% protein, but protein is less calories than fat. So it ends up being an astronomical amount of fat and lower protein. So I said, hey, if you want to go to like a 90-10 burger or a 93.7 or 96.4, although it's more expensive, it's going to at least save you calories. It's going to give you more protein, and it's going to help you hit your calorie goal. Proctor, you can unmute yourself. It's not letting me unmute you. Do you have a question, Proctor? Nope. All right. Your hand raised for some reason. I'm gonna blame it on your beautiful daughter. So, so using the Transformation app, I can actually see your food in it and actually help you make recommendations. Cat's fault. I thought you were gonna blame it on your daughter. Yeah, so this is actually a very great point that Dave picked up. And this is how I like to train my clients to enjoy food again. And it's basically protein's protein for the most part. Carbs are carbs for the most part. Veggies are veggies for the most part. So whether it's 6 ounces of pork loin or 6 ounces of sirloin or 6 ounces of salmon or 6 ounces of grilled chicken, unless you're doing like a ribeye or something that's really fatty or just regular hamburger, for the most part, they all have relatively same amount of protein, same amount of calories, sort of. And so in theory, if you make yourself a meal plan and you're like, all right, I'm tired of chicken, I want to do eggs, or I'm tired of eggs, I want to do fish, or instead of fish, I want to do pork, or I want to do lean steak, you can. And that's your goal. The next step is being able to realize there's substitutions out there, right? If you don't want chicken, 8 ounce or 6 ounces of pork loin has roughly the same protein as 6 ounces of grilled chicken, right? So that's the only thing that sucks. Now, let's see what Christy Hunley said. The only issue I have with it is when I make meals, kind of guess, calculate, and everything this evening. So, yeah. And so, I do suggest a food scale. And I know we're talking about getting harder and harder on this journey. However, if you don't know how much you eat of something, it's a guesstimate. And a guesstimate can be 300 or 400 calories wrong. And we talked about that. 300 calories is enough to gain 30 pounds a year. So if you're eating 300 calories more than you think you are, you're going to gain weight instead of lose weight. So, I mean, the good thing is if you buy a pound steak and you cut it in half, roughly it's 8 ounces each side. So you don't necessarily have to use a food scale to eyeball it in that scenario. Maybe it's 9 ounces, maybe it's 7 ounces, but in theory, it's not that big a deal, right? And so I try to kind of, when I make steaks and stuff, I try to cut it so that I can eyeball it and say, oh, okay, I'm having 8 ounces, Christina's having 6 ounces. Because I like steak and I'm not going to share. And so, I mean, those are things that you can do, but for the most part, And Dave's right. We're just terrible, right? And the other thing is you want to track your food as you go during the day. You don't want to wait to the end of the day and type in all your food, because you may have already ate too many calories, right? And maybe you had a snack at 9 o'clock at night that was high calories, and you probably should have had a handful of popcorn, right? So you got to kind of figure out what you can do. Like today, I had a rough morning, and I ate some garbage snacks when I woke up. And so now I'm a little over on my carbs. So tonight I'm having a protein shake instead of something else. Yeah, and that's actually super important, Travis. You can create recipes on the Transformation app and on MyFitnessPal. So that way, if it's something you make a lot of, you don't have to type it in every single time. You know, if you always use roughly the same amount of meat and, you know, carbs or veggies or whatever. See, that's tough, Whitney. For the most part, I use ounces. Because most things, when I type it into MyFitnessPal or the Transformation app, gives you an ounce option. There are some apps that only do it in grams. So if that's the case, then you got to measure it in grams. So for the most part, you can do it in either one. Ounces preferred. Now that's an excellent option. See, that's how you lose weight and enjoy life, is making things like that. So the last however many minutes it is, I don't even know what time it is. It's 9:52. For the next 10 minutes anyway, I am going to help you, or I'm going to answer your questions. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions, or you can just raise your hand, or you can ask them in the chat. Guys, I realize that this is tough stuff. Like this is more advanced stuff than maybe you thought you were going to get on a Wednesday night. However, I wanted to stress this isn't easy, right? Weight loss is not easy, unfortunately. And it is hard to figure out what exactly you need. Now, if you use the Transformation app, it's going to give you the calories, it's going to give you the protein, it's going to give you a carb and fat estimate. And so it's only your job. Now, all you have to do is calculate exactly what you want to eat versus how much and what you want to eat. Because if you don't have the app, then you have really no estimate of what to even start with, right? Because it uses a calculation based off of your goal body weight and your current weight to get you to that specific number it gives. I'm not going to give you the formula because that's secret. It's proprietary. Does it let you do the ingredients and get totals? Yeah, it works basically the same way.
You might have to show me that one. This is Shannon. Because I tried, and finally I just had to go back to your post, the beef and rice, and grab all your numbers and make the name. So
I will try to figure out. There's a way to share your screen on a iPhone. It's a pain in the butt though, so I'm gonna try to figure out. I'll do some screenshots or something and put it in the group.
Thank you.
No problem. Again, if we're focusing on fat loss, 4 most important things. 1 is hitting your calorie goal. 2nd is hitting your protein goal. 3rd is making sure you drink at least 100 ounces of water. And 4th is to increase activity. If you do those 4 things, you are guaranteed to lose weight. Guaranteed. Now, on top of that, right, we know that calories in, calories out isn't everything. We know that optimizing hormones, making sure gut health is appropriate so we can actually absorb the food and micronutrients that we eat. We know that hormone optimization and stress management all play huge roles in our body in weight loss. And I actually didn't mention this earlier, but as a trainer, in the scenario we gave earlier, I would be worried that the person wouldn't be eating enough omega-3 fatty acids. And you're probably like, what the hell are omega-3 fatty acids? So these are the heart healthy kind of fats we get from unsaturated fats that actually reduce inflammation in the body. So we're supposed to eat as much omega-3s as we eat omega-6s. The problem is the average American eats 20 times more omega-6s than omega-3s, so that causes chronic inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation in the body causes water weight gain. Chronic inflammation in the body causes us to swell. So if you have bad knees, bad back, bad joints, bad heart, all of those things are caused by inflammation in the body, and omega-6s lead to more inflammation. Now, omega-6s by definition aren't bad. The problem is it's too much omega-6s. So in her scenario, which by the way, you get omega-3s from two sources. The first one's plant-based sources. So like nuts and seeds, we get omega-3s. However, those come from ALA, which is a fatty acid, and it's not bad for you. I'm not tearing apart ALA. The problem with ALA is we only use 10% of it for anti-inflammatory purposes. You know, when we think about fish oil, which is where I'm going with this conversation, we think of improving eyesight, improving brain function, improving heart health, bringing down joint pain, helping us lose weight by reducing chronic inflammation in the body and raising the metabolism. ALA doesn't do any of that for the most part. Only 10% of it does. The two that do the most when it comes to this is EPA and DHA, bringing down triglycerides and cholesterol. That's the other one I missed. Problem is you literally only get EPA and DHA from fresh caught fatty fish, cold water fresh caught fatty fish. Literally, not tilapia, not trout per se, salmon, sardines, mackerel, things that eat in cold weather climates. And it has to be fresh caught, not farm raised. Farm raised fish get fed grains to grow, which grains cause the fish to have omega-6s instead of omega-3s for the most part. So I would look at her and say, hey, look, you're probably going to be suffering from chronic inflammation. So if you don't take a fish oil, you need to either eat 3 servings of salmon a week, or mackerel or sardines, or you really need a fish oil. I ate salmon tonight, guys, and I love salmon. But number one, I'm in West Virginia and we don't really have fresh caught salmon. And secondly, for me to eat 3 servings a week, that's pretty damn expensive, right? So I take a quality fish oil every day. Now, let me just tell you what clinical stuff, I'm going to type it in because it's kind of complex. Science says you need more than 2,000 milligrams of omega-3s each day. And on top of that, the bigger you are, the more you need because it's based off of body composition and weight. So the standard American needs at least 2,000 milligrams of omega-3s. Of that, 1,000 milligrams has to come from DHA and EPA. That's combined. If your EPA and DHA add up to get above 1,000, then you're fine. That's what your body needs. That's 3 servings of fatty fish each week, fresh caught fatty fish. If not, according to science, you should supplement with omega-3s, but it has to be omega-3s from cold water, fresh caught fatty fish. Now, if you're allergic to fish or vegan, if you're allergic to fish, you need to talk to a doctor because these are actually specific fatty acids from fish, so not necessarily will cause an allergic reaction with everybody, but you do want to talk to your doctor. But there is an algae-based omega-3 fatty acid, and it's not bad for you. Now, it is expensive, and it's lower concentration, so you gotta take several of them. So I use Full Mega from First Form. It's 2,500 milligrams of omega-3s and 1,500 milligrams of DHA and EPA. So I hit the minimum requirement. I don't have to take 10 of them like most department store brands. And that's what you got to watch. You'll see a lot of omega-3s, but you don't see very much EPA and DHA. And literally our bodies do not, unless you're getting above 2,000 milligrams and 1,000 milligrams of DHA and EPA, you're not seeing any benefit from a cardiovascular standpoint. So if you're trying to lower your triglycerides and cholesterol, you got to hit those numbers or you're wasting your money on fish oil. That's not me. There's other companies you can take. I'm not saying it has to be for First Form, but it's actually dosed clinically. So I know it's right. So on that perspective, I would suggest reds, greens, and a fish oil and a multivitamin to make sure that she's hitting everything she needs. But to be honest with you, I suggest those supplements for every single person. Red or greens and level 1 are my 2 biggest sellers because I believe in them so much. Literally, if you're a client of mine, you're going to hear me say level 1 and greens because literally we lose weight with greens. We feel better with greens. We get more energy with greens. We improve digestion with greens. We void better with greens. It's literally my favorite supplement in the world. Reds are phenomenal too, especially if you have any heart health or blood flow issues. Reds are mandatory if you have any of those issues. And then fish oil, super important too. So this is my suggestions based off that. Greens do not taste good. I call them hippie sweat, but you will lose pounds of water weight this week if you started it this week. It literally just changes the composition of your body. And the new chocolate banana is the best protein in history of the world. I'm not making that up. Super secret. I'm gonna share my recipe. Don't tell anybody. 12 ounces of light almond milk, 4 scoops of level 1 chocolate banana, mix into pudding, layer. Yeah, Crystal Light makes greens better. Reds, greens, and BCAAs taste amazing, and it works. Layer vanilla wafers on bottom. Don't go crazy. Pour pudding on top. Refrigerate for 1 hour. 4 servings. If I remember right, is 200. I think it's like 250 calories. 30 protein and fats. 20 carbs. It's literally the best thing in the world. We go through 1 chocolate banana every 5 days in our house between Christina and I. I've never gone through a specific flavor that much. Normally I'm a diverse guy. So like I'll do cinnamon cookie batter one day and chocolate banana the next and milk chocolate the next. No. Doesn't happen in our house. And actually chocolate bananas never sold out, which is insane. Like there's so many flavors that I normally don't even suggest that sell out constantly. And chocolate banana remains. So I'm actually glad about that. But those are. And also, if you're going to take greens, to optimize them, the best time to take them is right before bed. You do not want to take them around your workouts, either before or immediately after your workout, because your body's going to burn through them. Now I got to check and see if it's sold out, because I'm actually getting ready to put in an order. Wrong button. No, it's in stock. It's the second one. Cinnamon cookie batter's out of stock, which is probably my top 3 or 4. But chocolate banana is just freaking good. Actually, Christina likes it in coffee. I haven't had it yet in coffee, but it's very subtle banana. It's chocolate with a little hint of banana, not overwhelming. But all right, so you're going to start making your own meal plan. You're going to download the Transformation app. I'm going to speak redneck for a second. And you're going to upgrade to premium so that way I can see your macros. I cannot see your food logs if you don't have premium, so I can't help you. So definitely upgrade to premium at $6 a month or $50 a year. You get some more workouts. You get all kinds of stuff. Any other questions? Now, I want you to message me after this call and tell me if you enjoyed it, you hated it, it was too complex, whatever. Just let me know, because literally I know this is a super hard topic. This is difficult, guys. Like literally it's taken me years and years and years to perfect this, right? And that's why it takes me 4 or 5 days to get people meal plans, because I literally have to rack my brain with some spreadsheets that I have to get it to work right. So now if you're an elite client, when you see my spreadsheet that it takes a freaking long time to figure everything out, because literally what we did today is what I have to do for 7 days. So anyway, obviously, I hope you all become elite clients so I can do it for you, like Kyle and Carrie and Tanya just did, and Shannon and Travis and Kara. There's a lot of you all in here. I apologize. I can't see all the names. So, ooh, good question, Kyle. So, not really, right? So the most important thing is to hit our calorie goal. by eating more protein. So if it comes down to eating more protein, say your goal is 150 grams of protein, you ate 175, but in the meantime of hitting 175, you went 100 over your calories. That's not a good thing, right? So we still got to hit that calorie number. The second thing is, there's actually a few things here. Our bodies will tell us if we haven't ate enough. So if you get dizzy or weak, around your workouts or whatever, you need to change that up and eat something before your workout and immediately afterwards, right? But in the same sense, if you're at 1,400 calories and you need 1,800 according to the app, and you're not hungry, you're not starving, you're not weak, then there's no benefit of force feeding yourself. Now, if you're like Travis or you're like me, who are specifically like looking for a obtainable look that, we have to hit certain protein numbers and we have to hit certain calorie numbers to get where we want to go, then we have to be a little bit more stringent with ourselves. So Travis and I might have to overeat to hit certain numbers. Now, I could say Travis is really good and I'm pretty good, and that doesn't happen very often. But I know there are days that I'm drinking 2 protein shakes at 10 o'clock at night because I'm 50 grams short of my protein, right? So if you're trying to optimize, there's a difference between functional and optimal. Functional, you're going to hit your goals, you're going to look great, you're going to feel great. That's functional. Optimal is you're trying to get super shredded or super strong, and that's for more advanced people, right? Travis and I, we want to optimize ourselves to, as much as we possibly can. So we have to do things a little bit different. So let me catch up on chat. I apologize. Uh, 80 calories isn't that big a deal. Kyle, I'm not picking you on that. And plus, I normally build in my plans so that you can go a little over and it's not going to affect your not losing weight. Now, if you're over 300 or 400 calories, then yeah, it's probably not going to help you any at all. So no, that's fine. So if you do work shift work, I will say the hardest thing, working shift work is terrible for weight loss. Okay. And I'm just being real with you. So one of the biggest issues with weight loss is cortisol, stress reduction. And so the cortisol hormone peaks when we don't sleep a lot. And also when we're under intense stress, which a lot of people are under intense stress when they work midnight because they have a job where they have to stay up, and probably not the most fun job. Maybe it is. So you're getting double whammy. When cortisol is high, your body's going to hold more water, and it's also going to slow down fat loss. Cortisol actually tells your body to store fat, believe it or not. So you have to make sure that you have a sleep schedule that your body can get used to. Even when working shift work. Now, I will say, you have kids, you're a mom, some things you just can't control, right? And I understand, but you, Christy, in this situation would have to be super strict on her diet to lose weight because cortisol is going to work against her. So I would suggest before she goes to bed, whether it's, whenever she sleeps, I would suggest like a cortisol reducing sleep aid like Night T or Core 21. That's going to help decrease cortisol levels and help optimize fat loss and help you get better sleep in a hurry. So if you only get 6 hours, taking that's going to give you the best 6 hours you possibly can, right? So those are a few things. And you got to drink your water. I know it sucks. Now, one thing that I like doing with my clients, when you wake up, I don't have one in front of me. I normally do. I have a Yeti. It's actually not a Yeti. It looks like a Yeti. That's like 30 some ounces. And so when I wake up, I put a little bit of amino acids or something that tastes pretty good. Lately, it's been L-carnitine, and I chug it. And so I start my day off with over 30 ounces to start my day. So I want all my clients to drink 100 ounces. So at least you're a third of the way there by 8 o'clock in the morning, right? And then if you just drink 8 ounces an hour after that, you're going to be well over 100 ounces for the day, right? So that's one thing that I would suggest to you is to drink, either front loaded or back loaded the best you can, and then just sip the rest of the day. And you're still going to get a lot of the same benefits of drinking, 20 ounces an hour or whatever. I'll answer questions for a couple more minutes if you have any. I'm actually, thank you guys for, I know it's an hour and 10 minutes of you listening to me ramble about dieting. I appreciate it. If you are interested in elite coaching, feel free to give me a message. I'll tell you more, or you can reach out to many of the people that's on this chat that currently do it. Like I said, I know it was going to be a tough call. And I know there was times using the spreadsheet, you all were like, shoot me. It's difficult. I don't think Whitney's on this call anymore. I teach this class 3 days a week to trainers from all over North America. And trust me, they struggle with it. So I understand if this seems like it was out of your element, it might be right now, but you'll get stronger and better and understand your body better. And eventually it'll become pretty easy to understand one day. If you do have any questions, please reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever source of method you want. And we'll answer your questions for you. I understand it's a lot of, trust me. I get a lot of, like, when I teach classes, I have everybody's video on, and I can see people's eyes when I'm explaining to them some complex stuff, and I'm like, I feel for them. Actually, tonight I taught about protein only. So for an hour, I taught nothing but protein to 50 trainers from all over North America. A couple Instagram famous trainers on, so that was cool. Occasionally I'll get like a fitness model or somebody with like 1 million followers on Instagram listen to me ramble for an hour. That's kind of cool. Yeah, Christy, that's what's, and guys, like, most chronic health conditions, if you can get to yourself early, you can prevent them, right? And so, and what I mean by that is like, you know, say you're 50 and you suffer from, you know, real bad arthritis. You could have told your 30-year-old self to maybe watch their weight and maybe eat more omega-3s and work out more, maybe walk more, maybe eat more protein to build stronger muscles so your joints don't have to do as much work. You know, if you can get to that conversation with yourself before things start going bad, you'll have greater success with health and life, right? Diabetes is preventable, not type 1. Type 2 diabetes is preventable, right? But you have to know when to step in, right? Most of us don't, right? You know, my mom has diabetes. My mom also has COPD, you know, has had 3 heart attacks. So, you know, unfortunately for majority of us, we don't know when to step in. But if you can be forward thinking and be like, hey, look, I'm overweight, which puts me at risk for high blood pressure, puts me at risk for diabetes, puts me at risk for stroke and you know, asthma and all these things. And if we do things now when we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, then by the time we're in our 60s, we can live a more independent and long life. It's never too late. Even if you've had heart attacks, it's not too late to put your health and fitness first. You can add years to your life, years of independence, years of enjoying your life by stepping in now instead of waiting until the future, right? I work with teenagers with PCOS, teenagers. And I've worked with type 2 diabetics in their teens, you know, and so you can reverse it. You really can reverse diabetes. Now, I'm not a doctor. I should have said that from the very beginning. So when I say that, I'm basing it off of clinical knowledge of things that's clinically available that tells you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes. But you got to get to it soon, right? I don't know if she's still, yeah, I won't say her name, but I have somebody on here that I know personally that's reduced their A1C and their fasting glucose, you know, crazy amounts, right? They're taking less medicine, they're feeling better, they're losing weight. Wait, it's not too late, but you got to step in, right? You got to say, hey, I need help. And look, whether I'm charging you for elite coaching or I'm not, I'm going to give you help, right? I'm going to give you suggestions, right? So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to sign up for elite training, but don't be afraid to reach out also and say, hey, look, I need help. I don't know where to start, right? And I'll point you in the direction of the Transformation app. We'll come up with a game plan. We'll get to weight loss. We'll get the chronic health conditions down. We'll feel better, and we'll live a long and healthy life. So I've rambled on enough. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I tried. Best I could do. So this is recorded. So for some reason, if you ever want to rewatch me ramble for an hour and 15 minutes, you can. I will have it. But until then, I will talk to you soon. Thank you guys. Have a good night.